Hey guys, welcome back to the Rooted Home podcast. I am here today with Sheri Renno, who, actually, I would love for you to introduce yourself for those of our audience who don't know who you are. Can you tell us a little bit about you, your family, and what you do?
Sure. My name is Sheri, and I'm a Christian homeschooling mom to 10 kids, married to my high school sweetheart, Nelson. We've been married for 25 years. We met in geometry class. So I always joke that neither of us knows geometry. We were not paying attention.
That's cute.
Yeah. So we've been married for 25 years, just celebrated our 25th anniversary last summer. So that was
Oh,
really
so neat.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have 10 kids ages 21 down to 3. Um, and yeah, kind of stair-stepped in there. And I have a YouTube channel where I share homeschooling encouragement. I We've been homeschooling for 16 years, so I just really have a heart and passion for encouraging other moms who are either doing it for the first time or just need that kind of support. So I have the YouTube channel, and then I also have a blog where I share um, a lot of free things like copy work and book lists and just blog posts to encourage other moms. So
Awesome. So, what approach do you use? I don't know if I know this. Are you Charlotte Mason?
I would say if someone really looked at what we were doing, it's probably mostly Charlotte Mason. It's Charlotte Mason more in the elementary years, but
Hmm.
as they get older, we really do pivot to more of an interest-led style because we're trying to help prepare them for the adult world
Hmm.
and just get them to experiment and try things. Like you don't know what you're good at until you've tried it and it doesn't work or you don't
Hmm.
like it. And so we just want them to have a lot of those experiences. So we focus a lot on life skills, entrepreneurial skills in the older years, and just want them to have chances at experience so they can have an idea of what they want to do after. But in the younger years, yeah, we do a lot of living books, copy work, narration, and I've really become more relaxed over the years. I was a former public school teacher, so I had that mentality. Um,
That's
and I
very
want to,
different.
it is so
Yeah.
different. I wanted our kids to be on grade level or ahead. I wanted to make sure I was meeting all the standards. And when we started homeschooling, I just realized right away that it was so different. Our son was ahead in some areas, and then there were certain areas of the standards that I was looking at him and thinking, I don't really care that he knows that, but I do really care that he knows these other things.
Mm.
So our my priorities shifted quite a bit, and I think with your first, at least I tended to overdo it. I
Oh, yeah.
really was I wanted it to be excellent. And
Mhm.
then, with time and experience, I learned that I didn't have to be that rigid, that we could relax and enjoy the process a little more. And he was still learning so much. He wasn't missing out on anything. So, um, yeah, we have just a focus on progress. I want them to be
Mm.
making progress. And we just, do a little bit more every day. But I don't get stressed out if we don't get to a certain spot by a certain time. I just care that they love learning and that they're moving forward.
So you don't necessarily operate on this day, we're supposed to do this and finish this task. You just kind of move forward a little every day with each subject, would you say?
Yeah, I do. And um, we're always doing each subject. So every day we're getting out math and we're working at it. But, if we work at it and the child is struggling after 15, 20 minutes, we'll stop there and we'll just get it out again tomorrow at that same spot and pick it up again and do it again. So
Mm.
we're consistent, but we're always I don't stress if we have to stop a little longer. I don't move on just because I feel like we have to finish the curriculum. That's the freedom we have as homeschoolers to actually meet our kids' needs. And I do think that's so important. That's what they need. They need to go at a pace that they can handle. And for some kids, they move along a lot faster. I have kids that go ahead in some areas and they're getting beyond the textbook for 1 year. And then
Mm,
in another area, they may be, um, a grade level. I don't really think there are grade levels. The only thing grade levels matter for to me as a homeschooler is to know when they're going to graduate.
mm,
Um, but they may be behind in, level 4A or whatever. And I've had kids say, "Oh, but I should be in level such and such." And I'm like, actually, it doesn't really matter. It matters that you're making progress and moving
mm.
forward. And um, I've just seen the results with our kids. I think the longer you homeschool, the more confidence it gives you. When kids love to learn, they keep going even when the books are closed, even when you're
Mm.
off. Um, our kids, I just see this. We've just finished school, and for some reason, our kids are into learning languages right now,
Hmm.
which is just so random. And they were playing a game yesterday where they wanted to say a simple sentence and they wanted each person to try to say it in the own language they were studying.
Oh my goodness,
And
that's so
just
neat.
little games like that, like it happens all the time. And these are things I wasn't confident in this as a newer homeschool mom. I thought that we just had to finish this at this certain point. But when you see things like that, our older daughter is very entrepreneurial and always looking for ways to make money. She's started,
Must be a oldest thing.
she's actually our second
Oh,
daughter,
okay.
but she's just so driven. And she does a weekly bake sale here at our house and makes good income. She gets
Wow.
orders. It's turned into a business for her that she can make money from. And she has the time to do it because she's homeschooled. And so when she's done with her book work, she's not just wasting her time. She's moving ahead in
She's
the
taking care of
areas.
business.
Yes, she is.
That's so cool. How old is she?
She's 15.
Okay. That's so neat. So had she been cultivating this skill throughout the years and she just really enjoyed it and so she wanted to make a profit on it or how did that go?
Yeah, she always was asking if she could bake something. And um, so I said yes. And she eventually just wanted to start selling it. Our older boys started a car detailing business, a mobile car detailing business where
Wow.
they can go to, they can do individual people, but they can also go to commercial places and get people to sign up for a detail job. And that has been a great side income for them. So I've just seen
That's
them,
amazing.
yeah, I've seen them thrive. Our one daughter they all love different instruments. So, um, yeah, I think when you see these things in your kids, when they're young, you think, are they going to have any interests? Are they going to be good at anything? I don't know what their interests are.
Yeah.
When do you start seeing that fruit? And so, but once they start getting to that age, you see it. And,
Mhm.
so I like to encourage, um, moms that are back at that spot where I was when the kids are all little and you're just doing the grunt work of the physical work of changing
Mhm.
diapers and not getting sleep at night and constant interruptions. And it seems like, is this ever going to turn into anything good? Is this going to be fruitful? Um, those are just the investment years
Yeah.
and the fruit comes later.
Even early on when you start school, I don't know if you love teaching kids how to read. It's not my favorite. Um, but I feel like that's even, a little bit of grunt work too, and
It is.
it's just
Yeah.
very, um yeah, it's not that fun to
Yeah.
help them cat,
Right.
let's come on. No, not gnat. Like, anyway, it's so funny, but,
I know.
it's fun
Or they
watching it
sound it
play.
out and then they say, like, a word that's so random, it has nothing to s
Oh
doesn't
my
sound like that
goodness.
word at all.
I know. I know. One was yesterday, it was, the word was ant, and he's gone, "Ah, gnat. No, 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 ah." Anyway, so, when is that age when you tended to see your kids' interests come out and you start really or not sowing to the like, trying to cultivate those interests and draw them out a little bit, if that makes sense? When do you usually see that?
Yeah, I think a big change happens between 6th and 10th grade because I
Okay.
remember some moms who, came to our co-op and were talking about homeschooling high school, and they said, "Take, whatever your kid spends all their time doing and find a way to turn that into a credit."
Oh.
And so they were giving ideas of like creative ways to get credits, especially elective credits, things like that. And I just remember thinking, well, I don't know what my child is good at because at that stage in 6th grade, they're just kids. They're out playing in the yard. They're
Mhm.
picking, gathering, making the stone soup and gathering all their little things and in their imaginary world. Um, but I would say for our kids, it happened probably between 12 and 15.
Mm.
They just started showing interest or, for example, our one daughter wanted to learn to play the violin. So she's just started taking lessons this summer. So, and that's another thing too, just listen to what they ask for. Um,
Mm.
they'll let you know what they're interested in. They'll ask, "Can I try this?" or "Can we buy one of these? I'd really like to do this." And this is also where our there's a delicate balance to it for sure. But when our kids are young, we really try to be as screen free as possible,
Mhm.
because that can, we all know how addictive screens are, how dangerous they are for young developing brains. But as they grow older, we do want them to use the internet to learn how to do skills.
Hmm.
So, again, they're not just like getting on anytime they want and searching for what they want. They have to ask and um, they have to have something specific in mind. I want to go to learn how to do this card making skill so I can sell these cards on Etsy, start my own Etsy shop or something like that.
Hmm. Mhm.
I want to learn how to play guitar. I want to find songs to play um, for this music. So they have to be looking for something specific. Um, but we do want them to be learning as much as they can, and the internet will teach it to you. You can find out anything you want on the internet. So it does shift, and honestly, it makes it a little more complicated. It's not as easy when the kids were all young, and you can kind of control everything when, everybody just does everything together. And
Yeah.
um, in some ways, I miss those days, but I love having older kids too and seeing them flourish. It's really rewarding.
It sounds like it. It sounds very enjoyable.
It is.
I
It
love the
is.
little years. I don't have big years. My oldest is 10.
Okay.
I am seeing some of the skills and the interest come out at this point, but I'm excited to see how they're gonna continue just based on what you're saying to develop. I mean, my oldest is actually asking for cookbooks. She just got a couple for her birthday, and she really wants to learn to keep baking. So I'm like, "Well, you go for it. I'm gonna go feed the baby, and
Yeah.
good luck with that. I can't help you right now, but go for it."
Yeah,
So,
go have at it. And sometimes
yeah,
it's messy too. I
I
mean,
know.
yeah, um, we do let them explore their interests. And sometimes you walk in the kitchen and it's like, oh my,
Disaster
it
zone.
looks like a bomb went off. But
Yeah.
do require them to clean up.
Yep.
So, there's that too.
I was like, as long as you clean it up and as long as I have my
Yeah.
kitchen when I need it, it's fine, you know?
Yeah. Right.
Just don't hurt yourself too much, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
anyway, but she loves it and she loves the freedom. They feel so big at that age, you know, when they're
Yeah.
getting to do new skills, and I think every age, whenever you get to do something new and you get to be a little bit more independent,
Mhm.
they love it. So
Yeah.
so since you have 10 children, and you said from 21 so from 3 to 21?
Mhm.
So you started
Yeah.
homeschooling when your oldest was 5?
He was 5 going into kindergarten, yes. Mhm.
Okay. So at this point, with that big spread, what does your life look like every day, your daily rhythms? Like,
Mm.
how I'm curious how with 10 children, I know that some of them are probably pretty independent and doing a lot of their own work, but even
Mhm.
with a toddler, it could be really challenging, as you know, to read aloud when the toddler wants to scream or like
Yeah,
anyway,
right.
how do your rhythms play out in the day to day, not just with the book work, but also just life? What does a day in the life look like for you, especially during
Yeah.
school?
Well, it looks a lot different now than it did probably even 5 years ago or 10
Mm.
years ago. We had babies and toddlers for like 20 years. So,
Yeah.
yeah, 15, 20 years. So that seemed like such a big part of our life. And
Mm.
um so during that time it did look a lot different. I have had quite a bit more freedom in the past 2 years because our youngest is 3. So he's still young, but having a 3-year-old when you have 3 teenage daughters who adore him and
Mm.
love to cook and ask if they can make dinner and
It's very different.
it's a totally different world. So I have a lot more freedom and um things seem a lot easier now. So, on a typical day right now, I'm up at 6 o'clock and I do spend usually about a half an hour to 45 minutes doing some business work online. And then I'll start after I get a little bit done, I'll have my personal devotions. So just time with the Lord alone in prayer. And the important thing I think to say about this is that this is unique to the season I'm in now, but for 15 years, that was not a possibility.
Mm.
I couldn't just get up before the baby and have that time. Usually the baby was waking me up and I had been up all night and it was exhausting.
Yeah,
Yet I really, really needed that time alone with him. And so, what I tried to do, I didn't have time before I was with the kids alone with the Lord, except sometimes when I was pregnant. By then, the child before had been in a good sleep routine, and so maybe I could get up early. But when you have an infant up to even a year old, like it's just really hard to do.
it is so hard,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so I just tried the very first moment I got alone at some point in the day. You finally get a chance to breathe if you're making good use of your time and managing it well. I tried to make sure that I was running to God's word and not to social media or to just the most instant gratification. I was exhausted usually by that point, but I needed something that truly refreshed my soul.
Mm.
So that was how I approached it in the years when I had an infant. Now it's wonderful. I love drinking my coffee, having my breakfast is perfectly quiet and reading my Bible. It's just the
Like,
most
"What is
amazing
this?"
thing. Yeah, it's great, but I didn't have that for many years. And I've
Mm,
also recently started getting, after that, I can go for a walk in the morning because I have so many teenagers that are here at home. So
that's so
also,
awesome.
yeah, it is. It really is. But it wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
And then when I come back from the walk, I am usually getting breakfast for the kids between 8 and 8:30. And we start morning time at 8:30. So that's pretty much when our day begins. Um, our basic routine and rhythm is 4 parts. We do morning time and, this everybody is there. I do always try to teach up, talk up, read up, whatever it is, and then my oldest ones can leave, and I will, probably still read a Bible story or do whatever little things with my younger kids. Because having a 17-year-old, she has things she needs to get to, and
Mm.
so she stays for the meat, and then I let them leave.
By
Um,
read up, do you mean read to her level?
yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and I've had some older moms tell me that whenever you have a mixed group, you always teach up, read up,
Mm.
because things will trickle down to your younger kids, but you don't want your older kids, if you're doing something simple, you don't want them sitting there wasting precious time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
Um,
sense.
yeah, so I do the things that they can be there for, then they're excused. And then after that, we do chores, and that really is in a large family, this is something that I've learned is that your cleanup, your housework, those rhythms are a part of your learning, not an obstacle. And
Mhm.
that was something that took me a while to
Mm.
accept. I always thought, like, by the time I get this kitchen cleaned up, I'm not going to be able to get any schoolwork done. Instead of teaching them hard work, teaching them to do a job well, teaching them to make
Mhm.
their bed every day. This is learning as well. This is an
Yeah.
important skill. And so, we've been doing it for so long that it is much smoother. And it seems, um, I wouldn't say flawless or perfect, but it is much smoother now. But that came from years of just doing the same thing every day and checking it and being consistent. So,
I
so that's
think
the
being
second.
consistent with checking it is what makes it end up working long term, because
Yes,
otherwise it can be tempting not to. I think especially if as moms, if we get, like, busy doing other little odds and ends rather than seeing that as our job, or that checking it
right.
as that's our chore, at least one of our
Yes,
chores, and seeing it
right.
as a non-negotiable, it can just yeah, anyway. It really pays off later.
It does. And kids need that accountability. They'll do a better job over the long haul as they get older if they know that you're going to come back and make them do it again.
In the most inconvenient time too, usually.
Yes, right.
Oh, that's funny.
So that's the second part of our day. The third part is when the kids do their independent work. And they have a checklist for this. And we make these up together at the beginning of the year. I sit down with each of my kids one on one. And during this time, I am working with my youngest, whoever the budding reader is, teaching them to read the basics of math. And slowly that child becomes independent. And then I'm usually moving to the next.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, and if I move to the next one, the one above them still needs guidance. But this again is not a free for all. I am still checking their checklists when they're
Mm.
finished and going through, um, trying to, I'm not always perfect and we miss days, but to actually look at their work. I do let our kids correct their own math.
I do
If,
too. I was gonna
yes,
ask you that.
it's such a time saver.
It is.
Yeah, if you feel like a child is trustworthy and they're being honest with you, they can check their own math. And my only rule is that they have to bring to me the problems they got wrong so we can go over it.
Mm, that's
Or,
a good idea.
sometimes they'll say, I understood what I did wrong. And, as a mom, you can tell if they really did understand or if they're just saying that to get through. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, so I let them check their own work. That saves a lot of time. But I do try to physically look at their math, look at their copy work, look at their narrations, because they need that accountability.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm so glad to hear you say that somebody else does that too, because I
yeah,
was like, "I think this is fine. This is gonna be by necessity this year." But
yeah,
it seemed to work really well because honestly, they learned to problem solve too. Because 'cause
yeah,
I'll require my kids, I'm like, "Okay, I want you if you get it wrong, I want you to try to see what you did wrong and work it out the correct way one time, and then if you don't still don't figure it out after trying to correct it one time, then you can come talk to me about it.
Yes.
And a lot
Yeah,
of times they'll figure it out, but anyway, I feel like it helps them learn the concept even more because,
I do too.
you know,
Yeah,
so
sometimes they'll, look up the answer in the answer key, and when they see what it is and how they got it, not that they always do that, but it's like a light bulb goes on, and,
yeah.
yeah, it's worked very well for us. I think our kids do well in math, and, yeah, it just saves a little bit of time.
Let me go back to ask you one question, or I actually have 2 questions. So you say your morning time, what does that look like? Are you doing memory work there? Are you reading aloud? What are you doing during that time at the is it I'm assuming it's at the table during breakfast?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. We usually start with World Watch, so I don't know if you guys
Is that the
do.
news?
Yes, yeah,
Oh, okay, I've
10
heard of it. We
minutes.
don't do it. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
as your kids get older, it's really great, especially for older kids, they love it. It's news from a Christian perspective, and,
I'm
yeah,
writing
we
this
love it.
down.
So we start with World Watch. I used to always start with Bible reading. I don't know what made this switch, but probably because I dismiss my older kids, they do that on their own, and
Mm.
I save the Bible story for my younger kids. So we do World Watch, and then I have a simple morning time notebook that we go through that has poetry. We study two different poets a year, two artists, two composers. We do a proverb a day. Trying to think of everything. There's geography in there, just some things that I've put together that I'd like to cover throughout the year. So there, and memory work, Bible verses, historical speeches. Um, so we only do maybe 5 minutes of two or three of them a day. It's not like we're spending time on all of those, but our morning time.
Oh, okay, so you'll rotate those things?
Yeah, so I
Okay.
have, basically their memory verses and the
Uh-huh.
historical speeches and Bible reading are daily. But then the other things like composer, artist study, all those, poetry, those we loop, on
Okay.
a schedule, yeah. So I'll pick maybe 1 or 2 of those to do in addition to our daily work, and I think it takes probably anywhere from 20 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on the day and what we have going
Okay.
on. And we try to do it at least three or special try for four mornings a week. Sometimes it's only three. But yeah, does that
Are
answer your
you
question?
yeah, it does. You're eating before then, and so they're eating and you're doing it then, right? Or no?
They're usually my younger kids have eaten before then, and my teenagers
Oh, okay.
are just getting down in time. So they're usually eating during, but I'm fine with it as long as they're
Okay.
down by 8:30. Some of them work, and so they are getting home a little bit later, and I want them
Okay.
to be up in time, but flexible. So
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, we do a similar thing at the table, but I haven't thought about looping in. We're taking a different turn next year. We were doing sunlight this year,
okay,
um, just because I mean, I thought it was great. It wasn't my favorite for a couple of things, but, I loved the read alouds. They were great.
yeah,
We're
they
gonna
do have great
try
books.
they do, they're so
Hmm.
good. We loved it. Um, but anyway, we are gonna switch things up next year, and it seems like there's gonna be a lot more. So I think that the morning time, maybe that's a good time for Christian studies and some
Oh,
of the
yeah, that's something else we do, once a week. Instead of the Bible story, we'll read a Christian hero, and so
Mm.
I will have my teenagers stay for that because those are just fantastic.
Yeah.
And then twice a year, we do a Shakespeare play, so
Oh,
the older
cool.
kids will stay for that. Mhm.
Yeah, I love how Charlotte Mason incorporates a lot of these, I
Yeah,
mean, wonderful works, you know? Um, so anyway, we'll see what the next I'm using Memoria Press. Have you used much Memoria Press?
I haven't, but I
Okay.
do know people that have and really like it. I don't feel like I know it's classical.
It
We
is
spell
classical.
classical. Okay.
We've tended towards Charlotte Mason classical combo. I don't know how that will go with that, I don't know anyway. I
Yeah.
usually piece things together myself, and then this year I was like, I don't wanna make any decisions, we're just gonna go with sunlight, and they're gonna make all the decisions for me, and then anyway, so but I tend to like more classical,
Yeah.
but anyway, hopefully it'll
We do classical for history. I'm not sure if you've heard of Veritas Press, their
I have.
self-paced history lessons.
Oh,
Yeah.
neat, okay. Are they
I
online?
yeah, I love them. They have
Hmm.
been just such a great fit for us.
For your older kids or for everyone?
They're usually we use them for 2nd through 6th or 7th grade.
Mhm.
So I think they're a 5-year rotation. I think this is our 3rd time going through the whole rotation, but obviously this time with different kids than at the
Yeah.
beginning. So when I was 2nd grade, they start sitting in on it, and then, yeah, and it's similar. They memorize 32 events or people in a year. They learn history chronologically, and biblical history is woven in with world history, which I think is so important.
Mhm.
Growing up, I thought there was Bible
Separate?
class and there was history. I didn't realize they come together, that yeah,
Yeah.
so I love that they do that. And then whenever we read about something new, they have a place and time to put that new event. So if I read a story from the Civil War, for example, they know where it goes because they're memorizing a timeline song, which
Hmm.
really helps with that.
Yeah, I Mystery of History is kind of like that, I think. We started
Yeah.
using that one year, and I really loved the how they wove it all together because it really is yeah, when you're in public school, I grew up in public school, it is very separate. Like, I
Yeah.
was the same way with science. I actually only almost became a, oh my goodness, atheist in
Wow.
college because of a science class I was in.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Huh.
actually, it was funny, I went to my parents' church one weekend when I was wrestling with this, and their the sermon was "Scientific evidence that God exists." Like, the weekend that I went to my parents' house in a different state, or, like, not
Wow.
different state, on the opposite side of the state. So, anyway, it was God's timing, and it was really awesome, but, yeah,
Yeah, that's
I'm a
cool.
big believer in especially science, but yes, you're right about history
Yeah.
too, looking at it through a biblical worldview because
Mhm.
they're not separate, and I think yeah.
Right. Yeah, and just for our kids to understand that, um, all of this is his. This is his
Right.
design. When you're studying math, you're learning about him.
Yeah.
And when you're, copying a piece of art, you're mimicking, something that he designed.
Mm,
So, yeah, it's all part of knowing him. It's not separated.
yeah, that's good. One other question I had about what you said you checklist with your kids, but earlier you said that you don't really make you're not worried about the checklist. So how do you
Mhm.
use a checklist, but then you're not married to it, if that makes sense? Like, how do you
Yeah.
use it for guidance, but then you're not
Yeah.
married to it?
So the checklist, I know some people like print out a separate checklist, for example, every week, and they put on it do pages 9 through 15 on Monday or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, I have just one checklist that goes in a slipcover. They use that the whole year. And on Monday, it just has all the subjects that they're going to cover for that day. And I just talk with them personally or individually and just say, this is exactly what I'd like you to try to do in math. So when you do your math, do a textbook lesson. And then if it's really short, go ahead and do the workbook that goes along with it. But if it's
Mhm.
a longer one and it's taking you more than 25 minutes, 30 minutes, then that's good enough for that day. So they just kind of get an idea. When I have language written down on their checklist, they know that means that on that day, I want them to do 2 pages of language.
Okay.
And again, this is flexible. If they get to
Mhm.
something and it's taking them so long, they'll come to me and I'll say, "Oh, yeah, you don't need to do all that. Like, just do 1 page today or whatever." But they have a
Okay.
general concept of how much I expect them to get done in each subject that's listed on their checklist.
I like that idea. That's a good idea. We do that with math, but sunlight is very regimented. Like every day you do this and this. And
Oh,
there have been
yeah.
weeks that I'm like, "We're just not doing that because we just
Yeah.
had a baby come into our house,"
Yeah,
you know?
and I really had to get to that point just because, we always had an infant and we had a toddler, and I couldn't keep up, and I thought that was a loss, that my kids weren't getting an excellent education if I didn't have everything exactly planned out like that, but I've learned it's just not true, that
Mm.
really your approach and your attitude and developing a love of learning in them and keeping them accountable, um, I think they've had an excellent education, and I haven't written down exact numbers for every lesson for every day, so
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of follows my philosophy on home management. Like, I don't worry about tackling all the tasks on the day, but I have like a list of things. These are the things that I could do. Like, I want to chip away at these things when I
Yes.
have the time. And if I run out of time, it'll roll over to the next day. It'll be fine.
Mhm.
It'll still be there, you know?
Right.
So that makes sense to me. I'd
Yeah,
have to
it's a
think,
very similar approach. It's yeah, exactly what you said with schoolwork.
yeah. Okay, I wanna keep hearing about the rhythm because I stopped you to ask you your questions. So you said
Okay, so yeah,
you
checklist was the
uh-huh,
3rd.
3rd, uh-huh,
Um, and so, some of my teenagers don't get through their checklist by lunch, but I would say for the most part, people really work hard to be done with that by lunch. So we'll stop for lunch, we'll go outside, and just take some time. And then usually we'll come back around 1:30, somewhere around 1:30 or 2, and we'll do afternoon read alouds. And, during this time, I usually just pick an older book and a younger book. It's a juggle right now, when they were all yeah, at your kids' ages, like 10 and under, you could just read one fun read aloud. It was such a great experience. But now I really want to keep my oldest kids as long as possible. So
Yeah,
I pick something that will engage them and I just kind of juggle it. Sometimes they're working one afternoon, so then we'll just do the younger kid book. And then sometimes I'll try to fit in like a science reading or a history reading here and there with that. And so that pretty much culminates our day. Um, I mentioned that our kids do our school day, at least there.
yeah,
After that, I go and have time to myself, alone time. That is pretty sacred in our home. The kids
mhm,
know I am available to them all day long. I am 100% there. But when it's mom alone time, they are supposed to be doing their things. That's their quiet time, and they're not supposed to interrupt unless it's very, very important.
yeah,
So,
emergency,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So, trying to think what I had in my mind, but yeah, that that's how we finish our day. Sometimes our teenagers are still. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Veritas Press history, that actually is not part of their checklist time. I've had a hard time fitting that in there. And because it's online, we have had our kids do that after dark. We just have time in the evening.
mhm,
So we fit that in about 2 or 3 days a week in the evening. So um, with homeschooling, we have the freedom to make things work for us however it fits best. And um, yeah.
yeah. I love hearing how other people do it because I usually take away a nugget and refine my own, you know?
Yeah, right, I know.
Um, and, yeah, especially you've been doing this a while, and so you sound like you've just got a great rhythm in place for your family, and so when do you do so your youngest around 1:30, and are they listening to the read alouds too, like the 3-year-old, or is he or she your 3-year-old, is it
He
boy or girl?
yeah,
Is
it's a
he
little
down?
boy. Yeah. Again, this
Okay.
is like a spectrum
Yeah.
because when he was 1, he would absolutely be down at 1 o'clock,
Mhm.
and when he was 2, 1 o'clock, but eventually he was staying up later and able to handle it, and so now sometimes he is there for the read aloud, and I've just told him, "You can be here if you're quiet, But if
Mhm.
you interrupt us and it's distracting and we can't read, then you have to go for your quiet time. And I still have him go for quiet time when I go to do my time alone.
Yeah.
But I've been a little bit more flexible, letting him stay up with us if he can be quiet. And sometimes he can, and sometimes he can't. And he has to go to his bed, and that's just part of it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So is your quiet time when you'll also enjoy the business stuff?
yes,
Okay,
yeah,
that's when I do it too.
yeah. I try to get in like an hour and a half in the afternoons, and I I don't know how it started for you, but um homeschooling can be all consuming. And I remember we hit somewhere, I don't know when we had our seventh or our eighth child, where I had a hard time getting interested in things and having fun. I stopped doing hobbies because I felt like anytime I would start something, I would get interrupted. And this was not a good habit. And it's something that on my channel and on the blog, I really try to encourage moms to always have something that you're doing that you just really enjoy.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
yeah, so I think there was a little time where I got maybe a little depressed because I just was losing interest in things. I'm not crafty. So I wanted to do something to learn some skills. And
Mhm.
I decided to try blogging. And I thought, this is something that I think I would like doing. And at this point, I have learned some things so I could encourage other people while I'm doing it. So that's kind of how it started and has just slowly taken off. And I do try to keep the time that I'm working on that completely separate from the time that I'm with the kids. And that, it can take some discipline sometimes. And I don't know about you, but I don't always do it perfectly.
I
But I
know. Yeah.
really want your kids are only here for a short period of time. And
Yeah.
that's really the most important thing.
Yeah.
So um, being 100% with them during those hours is just really important to me. And keeping this secondary as much as possible, and
Yeah.
it's not always easy.
I know. I think that's so wise. I think some moms I've heard every mom thinks knows that their family is top priority, but it doesn't always play out that way if you don't have the discipline to keep it in its constraints. And if you don't,
Yeah.
so we've had to, you know, um, whack back the weeds some like, oh, nope, this is creeping in. We need to stop, or we
Yeah.
need to change course here. But I'm with you. I try to keep it completely confined to that time in the afternoon. I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot.
Mhm.
Jeremy is always like, but rest. I'm like, but this is restful. It's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I was pregnant or something, that'd be one thing where I like needed to sleep. But it's
Right,
restful, it's
right.
enjoyable, it's a creative outlet. But,
Yes. I found myself there was a period of time when I finally got time alone, I would just sit on social media and scroll, and I thought, I don't wanna do this. I don't wanna be like
yeah,
that. I want to be doing something, whatever it is that is learning a skill or being productive. I don't
yeah,
want to waste this time.
yeah,
So that's kind of how it got started for me.
that's so good. We have a
Mm.
very similar story in that regard. I started with a blog initially because I was like, I can teach, or I really wanted to teach people and, like, share what was so revolutionary for me, like, this made such a difference, and they were like, not rocket science, but
Yeah.
it does not come natural, and I just know
Mhm.
so many women who struggle with it, so I was like, maybe I could just put it no one's asking me questions, but there are people all over the world who ask questions online, so
Right.
I'll just
Right.
put it out there and see what happens, and then I heard about, Doug and Haley's course and the whole thing about, well, maybe I can s move this to YouTube, which is funny because Jeremy was originally the one that was gonna be on YouTube, so he got all the equipment.
Oh,
And now he's
no.
like, "Never mind, I don't wanna do YouTube except for the podcast," and, uh, it was so funny how it just all changed. So, now it's all on YouTube, and we've got the course and all of that, but anyway,
Yeah.
it's a fun outlet.
Yeah, it is. I started my blog with, Lisa Bass's
Did
blogging
you?
course.
Oh,
Yes.
cool.
And then she talked about putting a video in each blog post to help you rank higher on Google. So I started doing that, and that's what kind of got me onto YouTube. And then
Ah,
over time, YouTube started doing better than the blog, especially in the homeschooling niche. I feel like food bloggers, it's a totally different world, but in the
yeah,
homeschooling niche, YouTube has done much better because I think people are looking for someone that they can relate to, a real person that,
yeah,
can help them and help solve problems. So, and then I found that I just really do enjoy it. It's fun to use something some experience that God has given you as a creative outlet that is also helping people.
yeah, and it's also I don't know about you, but I end up learning as I go too. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sharing what I'm learning, but as I'm sharing it, I'm continuing to refine what I know. Or usually,
Mhm.
whenever I put a video out about time management, then I start having a hard time with time management about something, like it just kind of goes
Yeah.
deeper. Like, okay, I understand the struggle, but here we go. We gotta do this, you guys. Oh, I don't know if you've seen that reel of like the person falling down the hill. Have you seen the woman is like, oh, friend trying to help a fellow friend out when you're telling them they're gonna do a good job, but you're also, like, falling
Falling
down the
down.
hill. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
so speaking from real life, we've learned and we're learning because we never arrive,
Yes.
right?
Yes, absolutely.
Um, well, I want to respect your time because I just realized the time. That flew.
Wow. Oh, it did.
It
Wow, well, this was
flew,
fun.
like, way faster than I wanted it to because I have so many other questions I wanna ask you. Maybe we could do a part 2 sometime.
Sure, I'd love
Would you be
to.
up for that? Okay,
Yes,
because yeah, I have
absolutely.
some other questions I wanna pick your brain on, but well, Sherry, tell people how to find you. I want you to tell them about your course too, because it looks like such a good resource. So don't be shy. Tell us all about it and
Okay.
tell us where we can find you.
Okay, well, I'm on YouTube at Our Life Homeschooling, and then, I also have the blog, ourlifehomeschooling.com. I recently just published my brand new course. It's called Beyond School: The Home Education Breakthrough, and, it's, basically like a mom mentorship where I sit down. If you were sitting down with me for coffee, it's everything I would tell a new homeschool mom or a current homeschool mom in the 16 years, what I've learned in 16 years of homeschooling. It has a family first approach because that's really where we've arrived after all these years of homeschooling. Just some of the things I already mentioned, we learned to let some things go to keep
Mhm.
our family the priority. And so, for moms that are wanting to have that simplistic, peaceful homeschool, it's not easy, it's hard work, but there are routines that I've learned that have really helped us keep our family first and make our homeschool day just be a part of our normal life. So that's everything that I teach in the course.
That sounds like such a great resource. One of these
Yeah.
days, it may be something that I would like to do because man, you're just a wealth
Oh, thank you.
of
Yeah, I've
wisdom.
enjoyed it's rewarding to put something together that you think I think back to when I was starting out, and I think this would really have been something that would have helped me. So I hope it does the same for other people. When we started, there were not blogs, YouTube. There were a couple blogs. I did find some, but there just wasn't the kind of support. There was
Mhm.
curriculum overwhelm. Even when we started, there was a ton out there. But as far as just getting to know another homeschool mom that's ahead of you, if you didn't have that in your immediate circle, you just couldn't find it online.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope it is that for other homeschool moms who need the support.
When you really gain some perspective too. I mean, you got come from public school in that, like, regimented mindset to becoming new homeschool mom with still a regimented mindset because of public school, but also first time mom thing, or first time
Yeah.
homeschooler, like, I did the same thing for our oldest, and then the pendulum swung for our second. So, anyway, oh, it happens. But, anyway, you've gained so much perspective, so I feel like just having it's a good thing to have perspective from someone who can tell you this is not an emergency and
Yeah.
just give some perspective about family. I think when you say family first, you mean not checklist first, not curriculum first.
Yes,
You're
and not
prioritizing the relationships.
extracurriculars as well.
Mm,
I mean, we like for our kids to be involved in sports and music lessons, but it's amazing how it can totally take over your family life, and
yeah,
so we've tried to give them those opportunities, but if it takes over our family time, then we've said no to some of them, and I feel very strongly that missing out on a family life is a bigger deal than missing out on some of these specialized classes.
yeah,
So that's been something that we've had to learn. We really want them to remember the family times. We want to have evenings together, dinners together, downtime for all of us to be together.
yeah, because that really sows into them long term and ties the heartstrings that, Lord willing, will last a lifetime,
Yeah.
pouring into them in those years is just they're so short. I know
Yeah.
my kids are young, but it just feels like it's going so, so, so fast, even with
I know.
their ages. I'm like, I look up and they're so tall. I'm like, what happened? Like, you were the size of this little toy kitchen not that long ago, and now you're
Yeah.
twice that size. Anyway, so yeah, we want to cherish this time, and I think that's just that's a good healthy perspective. Family first, relationships first.
Mhm.
When things get difficult with the math, it's okay to step away and
Yeah.
recalibrate, take a breather,
Mhm.
go do something fun if you have
Right.
to.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. It's been such a
Thank
joy.
you. Yeah, thanks for having me, Lauren.
I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.